Welcome to Lifting Girls Up with Girls Inc. of New York City. My name is Tiffany Martinez. I'm an academic advisor for Girls Inc., and I'm so excited to have Meagan Good here with us today. Before we get started, I am here with three amazing, incredible students from Harlem. Feel free to introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Nayel. I'm 17. I love listening to music and I want to be a forensic psychiatrist when I get older.
Hi everyone, I'm Tara. I'm 17 years old and I have a strong passion for helping others and advocating for social justice.
Hi, I'm Skylar. I'm 18 and I hope to be a real estate broker and an interior designer.
You will be. And Meagan, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Meagan Good, and I feel like in a lot of ways I'm still growing up, but an actress and just started really directing and producing, and I have a passion for helping young women and for pouring into them and mentoring and putting something into the world that's bigger than me.
We're so happy to have you here. We're so happy to have you here. Firstly, I wanted to start off the conversation by having you speak a little bit about, self-care and the importance of taking care of yourself, especially during this time.
Yeah, the crazy thing is when the pandemic started, I was actually here in New York shooting the show, and we had gotten maybe about 2.5 episodes in. And I thought we'd be back in like 2 weeks and didn't realize it'd be like a whole year. And for me, it was like, I don't want to get depressed. I don't want to be fearful. I really want to say, okay, God didn't make this happen, but God allowed it to happen. So if he allowed it to happen, what am I supposed to be getting from it? How am I supposed to be growing? How am I supposed to be learning? What do I need to be dealing with? And so I really was intentional about, I pray every day, I read my Bible every day, I say affirmations every day, but I obviously had more time to do it and to press in more and to be like very, very specific and intentional. um, I also started doing like marriage counseling with my husband, and it wasn't because there was an issue or anything like that. It was like, okay, we have this time, like let's make it intentional. So let's go get counseling. Let's look underneath the hood. Let's see what there is that maybe we could deal with, or maybe something we're not aware of. And I think we both really realized that there was still, traumas that we had experienced from just being kids and being teenagers, and me growing up in the business, and past relationships and things that I had been through, him with his father passing away at a very young age. And there was just a lot of stuff that informs how we approach things in life and even how we approach each other. And so knowing what those issues are for each other and knowing what they are for ourselves and really being intentional about doing the work and about growing. And then for me, it was just a lot of time to say, okay, God, here are the traumas that I'm dealing with. Show me the work that I need to do and how I need to do it and how to depend on you and how to hear you clearer and all of those things. So I really just used this time during the pandemic to say, I can't control everything else, but what I can control is me. And in controlling me, how do I come out of this better than I went into it? I don't want to be the same when I come out of it. I want to be so much better, and I want to grow, and I want to have looked at this time, as horrible as it's been, as something positive for my growth and my development. And I want to use this time as preparation for the things that I do want to happen that maybe can't happen right now, but I can do every single part of preparation so that as soon as it can happen, I'm already in position to walk into those things.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I think with COVID, like things have really shifted and we really have to like adapt to this. And it's been really hard, especially for like mental health and things like that. But I just wanted to touch on like in our society, and I'm sure like in the business of the film industry, we're often held to like such high standards and things like that. So I just wanted to know, like, I'm sure there's negative comments that have come your way, like whether it was like in the business or just like, personal life, whatever the case may be. So how do you take those like negative comments and that criticism and like make it into something positive?
That has been a journey for me. When, I was about 21, is like really when like the media takeouts and the boss ups and all that stuff became very prevalent. And, I would see 100 nice comments And then I would read like two really, really mean things that really hurt my feelings. And I would internalize it and I would cry about it and it would depress me. And then I would be, afraid that like, well, maybe this person wrote it or maybe that person wrote it. It made me not as trusting to people, even though I'm a very open person by nature. And that was a process for me to start accepting that it has a lot less to do with me than it does with the person and what they're going through and what they're experiencing. I can just be a target because I'm in front of their eyes. And you look at stuff that they say about like Beyonce or whoever it is, and I'm like, oh, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not in the worst company. And, sometimes you just have a bullseye on your back and there's not a whole lot you can do about it, except for understand that it's not about you. People have their own insecurities. They have their own issues, things that they're going through. And you have to learn to pray for them regardless. And you have to learn to release it and to not take it on and allow it to build your character as a human being. And um, for me, it's been like cycles. Like I'd say the three biggest things was in the beginning when I was like 21. And then when my husband and I got married, I got saved when I was like 12. And, when Devon and I got together, his day job is he's a film producer, but he also preaches and motivational speaks and all these things. So like the headline, on the internet was like, Hollywood pastor marries Californication actress. And I'm like, I did like 6 episodes of Californication. I've done like a million other things for you to say that. And so they were very much sensationalizing it and making it seem like Beauty and the Beast, except for I was the Beast, And I think that this year that I did the BET Awards and I wore like this blue dress and I was supposed to be like presenting like a hip hop award for something. And like in the 11th hour, they made it a gospel award. And I still didn't think much about it. And then I got up on stage, I presented the award. And the next thing you know, I sit down in my seat and I'm trending on Twitter. And I'm like, for what? And I look and it's like a bunch of people in the church community, like ripping me to shreds, like calling me a whore and saying that I'm not a real Christian. And, I'm not a woman of God and my husband shouldn't be with me. And it was like a knife to the gut and not just like a knife, it was like a bunch of stabs. And it was really traumatizing for me and really, really painful. And it took me years to get over it. I stopped going to church. I still always had a very, very strong relationship with God. And that will always be, nobody can rock that. But I stopped dealing with a lot of Christians and I stopped liking them. And I stopped feeling comfortable. I felt like I can't change who I am. And even for a moment, I like tried to like walk on eggshells, but I'm a Leo, I'm a certain kind of personality and I can't do that. I just can't survive that way without being myself. And so in being myself, I always felt like I was walking out to the firing squad. And for years, that was like very traumatizing for me. And then I realized what I went through at 21 prepared me for what I was now going through at 30. And even though this to me felt like it hurt more because it was the community where I should feel safe and I should be loved unconditionally and I should be protected. And it was also embarrassing as a Christian to see other Christians treat anybody that way. But I realized that I had the tools to be able to navigate it because at the other time that was equally hurtful. I just didn't realize it. Now I was in a different place in life and it was the same thing all over again, just different. And so for me, it's always about, I have to allow it to build my character. If I say that I love people and I'm a Christian, well, it kind of only really counts when they're unlovable and when they're hurting you and when they're doing things to you that you would not do to them. That's when that type of love really counts because it's not easy. And that's kind of the point. And so I've allowed it to help me grow. And then I've just gotten to a place where I'm like, you know what? These people don't pay my bills. They don't make my marriage work. They ain't gonna give me kids. They don't help my career. So I can't focus my energy on that. I have to accept that some people are gonna think what they think about me and it's not true. And I know it's not true. But those who love me know that it's not true. And anybody who wants to subscribe to it and believe it easily, that's because they want to believe it easily. And they're going to always want to believe it easily, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I try to defend myself. And those people are just not my tribe. And that's okay. I can still love them from a distance, and focus my energy on those who are my tribe and who do love me and love me unconditionally and build up my life and pour into me, that I can do the same for.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know it must like take a really big, toll on your mental health, hearing all of the, negative comments, because you're viewed like in the public eye as like, someone else and stuff. So what is your advice for taking care of your own mental health, and how do you like keep moving forward? What practices do you have?
My routine daily is pretty much the same, and it sets me, first thing I do when I sit up, I do not grab my phone. I sit up, I pray. I say affirmations over myself, which is, God, I am your child. I am dearly loved. I am loved unconditionally. I belong to you. Jesus, I am your friend. Jesus, I am your bride. God, I am your residence. I am blameless. I am righteous. I am adequate. I am a new creation. I am victorious. I am never alone. And I don't always feel that way when I say these things, but I say it because I'm reminding myself who God says I am, regardless of how I feel. And I wake up many mornings feeling unworthy or feeling, far away from where I want to be or whatever it is. And I just remind myself daily, it doesn't matter what I feel in this moment. This is who God says I am. So believe that. Start your day believing that. And then after I say a prayer, I read some word in my Bible, whether it's like 2 lines or if it's like a chapter. I just read something so that it can get into my spirit and just give me clarity, direction, information, peace of mind. And then when I get into my car, the first thing I listen to is like uplifting music, because music is very, very powerful, and it does shift your spirit, and you put certain things into your spirit identifies with it and believes it. And so for me, I play something that tells me who I am positively. Then it gets ratchet after that. But before that moment, the first thing that goes into my spirit is something that sets my intention and sets me up for the day. And then when things do come my way, I'm just totally, I have more control. It's like I'm set and I'm prepared to go, okay, that just happened. Right. But you know what? It's going to be okay, Megan. It's going to be just fine. You know what? You'll get through it. God is with you. He has a plan for you. He wants you to win. He wants you to succeed. You are worthy. You are special. You are beautiful. You are unique. Remember that. Now take on the situation that you're dealing with.
That was so beautiful. I always say that you have to fill up your own cup, before you can pour love into anyone else. And that rising time when you get up is just such an important period for yourself. And I always try to tell the girls as often as possible to implement the same things that you do: uplifting music, positive vibes, and affirmations, and the power of affirmations and the power of words,
Yeah.
and just saying certain things to yourself, even if you don't feel beautiful, just like, I am beautiful, I am loved, I am protected. And thank you for sharing your affirmations too. I'm definitely going to adopt those. Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And for your vulnerability.
Right.
Honestly, your vulnerability. We're so grateful for your truth. So I wanted to ask you a question about growth and about overcoming, and maybe pieces of advice that you would give to your younger self if you had the opportunity to do so.
Um, it's interesting, but I think I would start choosing me a lot earlier on. For so long, I found value in choosing everyone else, being the person who didn't give up on someone, being the person who looked at someone's heart instead of what they did. Yeah, they did this, but they did this because they're dealing with this, or they went through that, or this was done to them. And I think that that's a beautiful quality to have. But in some ways, I made trying to be so good my God, and I found value in just trying to be such a good person, to a fault. And even in the Bible, it says, don't be too good. Why should you destroy yourself? And I think that's a lot of what I dealt with, like, 19, 20, whatever it may be. I definitely had a spirit of like people pleasing and wanting to be liked and wanting to be loved. And, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and we were like one of one Black family. And so I was like 11. And I think it kind of started there. And then my mom and dad separating when my sister and I were 4, I think a lot of that wanting to be liked and loved and people see my heart and all of that came from those experiences. And then it just gets worse when you grow up in the industry and you're like, a child who's constantly being told what to do and looking for being affirmed and all of those things. So I do a good job and like, whatever it is, and all the things that come with that. And so I think I would just tell myself like, girl, it's not that serious. You're good. Like God knows your heart. Even if nobody else knows it, God knows what's really happening in your heart. He can truly, truly see you even better than you can see yourself. And that's the only person you've got something to prove to. And when you focus on that energy between you and him, everybody else that's supposed to fall in line will. And everybody who's not supposed to fall in line won't. And it will just be clear. And you can stop like spinning your wheels and trying to make people who were never meant to fall in line. You're exhausting yourself, you're stressing yourself. And what they think of you actually does not matter. And so that has been like a lifelong journey and lesson for me. But I do wish that I had learned it earlier, because I think I could have saved myself just a lot of different things. But I will say that I'm also glad that I learned it at the time that I learned it, because I wouldn't be able to speak the way that I speak about it, or to say to someone like, I get it, I understand, I've been there. And they're like, oh no, you're Meagan, you're an actress, you don't understand. It's like, I'm exactly like you. God sees me and you exactly the same. I go through the same things you go through in my own experience. And I can tell you, I've actually been there, and I can speak with authority on my experiences. I believe that everything bad we go through in life is something that God does turn around for your good. And it is something that makes you more powerful, and it's something that allows you to walk in purpose and capability because you've experienced it. Even if it seems like the most horrible thing in the world, you can now help somebody else come through that thing because you've been there. And so in that sense, I'm thankful for the experience, because it has made me more capable of walking in my purpose. But that's what I would have told myself when I was younger. Like, girl, it ain't that serious. You good. You're enough.
Yes, definitely. I'm really thankful and glad that you spoke on that, because I think like growing up and being a teenager, especially like during this time when people are like so like they heavily criticize you over every little thing, and I think it's like super sad, because like no one deserves to be treated that way, like feel like be put down because of something that like they can't control, or because they're learning at the same time as someone else might be. Like if they're not, oh my gosh, it's all over the place. But basically what I'm saying is like, I don't think that anyone deserves to be like treated any like poorly because of anything or anything like that.
No,
And
you're
so,
making sense.
yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I just want to just build off of what you said prior to, when you said if you could, like the advice that you would give to your younger self. So I just want to know, like, how did you implement those lessons like in your life?
Like I said, it's been a lifelong thing for me. I'm 39 now, and I feel like I feel like I was always on the road to getting it, and I've gotten it, to some degree in every different way. But if I'm being completely honest, I think you learn how to navigate, and you learn how to be okay, and you learn how to say, okay, well, this is the person I want to be. I want to be loving. I want to be unconditionally loving. I want to love people as close to how God loves them as I'm humanly capable. I want to pour into people. I want to be helpful. I want, all these things. And you can navigate those daily. But I think, it's like the thing that I just went through recently, which was a skin issue. It was, the short version is I went to an unlicensed esthetician, and she destroyed my skin. And I was like several shades lighter than this. And it's taken about a year and some change to even get this much color back. And I'm still about like 3 shades away from where I want to be. And that was absolutely traumatizing. It was horrific, like being dragged on the internet and people saying, oh, well, she's bleaching her skin, and like the appearance of not loving myself and the appearance of thinking like younger women are seeing this. Um, and it was embarrassing. It was mortifying. It was in the midst of everything that's going on. It felt like, um, it felt like a betrayal to myself, you know? I mean, and when I looked in the mirror, I still felt beautiful because I'm an extremely overconfident person. But I also am insecure in other ways, you know? I still felt beautiful, but I didn't like the way I looked. You know, I was like, how do I fix this? And then, you know, when I went to fix it, I ended up burning my face really bad. And the serum that she had given me, it like attached to my face, and it wouldn't come off. And when I was scrubbing it, it took off flesh on my skin. And I had to go back to filming and cover it up. And I got off social media for a few months and wouldn't even leave my hotel room except for to go to work. And sad thing is, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I think there was always a part of me that learned how to cope with what people said, but a part of that required me kindly in love checking people and telling them like, yeah, okay, well, let me read you real quick in love, you know? And I was able to defend myself to some degree. And in this situation, I couldn't defend myself at all. I couldn't get on the internet and be like, I don't look like that. That's not true. All I could say is that that's not what happened. But nobody wants to hear that when people want to drag you or they want to believe that, whoever those people are. And so I couldn't defend myself. And it was a situation where I had to just sit and accept that some people legit think that this is what I'm trying to do. And like, I don't love myself and I don't love my skin. And it hit deeper because growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, my sister and I were treated differently. She was much fairer. I was much more brown skinned. There was like a neighbor's house. I couldn't even step foot on their, like across the threshold of their property. I was perceived as mischievous. She was perceived as good. I had teachers, you know, one of my teachers like hit me, and like another one of my teachers would send me home every day for wearing baggy clothes. Another one of my teachers made me lose my work permit, so I couldn't act for like a year. I mean, I went through a lot at that time. So for me, falling in love with my brownness was a massive part of my identity, and also was a journey to be like, I'm beautiful. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? That's fine. You don't get it. You don't see it. You don't like me because of my complexion. That's fine. To get to a place of like, that's on you. That's not me. And then to feel like someone stole it from me was absolutely horrifying. But a blessing, you know, because I had to be like, okay, you have to accept that some people are going to think that. And anybody who wants to believe it, it's what they want to believe. It doesn't matter what you do, this situation or that situation. They want to believe ill of you. That's just what it is, you know? And you have to be okay with the fact that it also has nothing to do with you, you know, and be okay with those who are your tribe and that want to believe the best in you will believe the best in you. Those people will give you the benefit of the doubt. Those people will be like, well, maybe, and maybe, and maybe. They will give you that because that's who they are. You know what I'm saying? So I think that even what seemed like the worst thing turned out to be a blessing, because it really freed me in a way of just like, y'all keep poking and poking and poking, and I'm at the edge of this cliff and I'm trying not to fall, and you just keep poking. And eventually I just jumped. And as soon as I jumped, I started flying. So it's kind of amazing.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I love how you were able to turn this traumatic experience and kind of like shift your thinking and say, hey, like, you know, like you found this as like a blessing and you were able to grow from that experience. And I'm pretty sure you said you like positive affirmations, and I love them as well. And what are your thoughts when you hear the affirmation, or you are enough, or what are your favorite affirmations?
You are enough is one of my favorite affirmations because it seems so cliche because people say it so often. And I think when you say something so often, you don't always take the time to think about what it means. But that is one of my favorite ones, because we are enough. You know, we are unique unto ourselves. And there is nobody in the world like us. You know, even if you have the same mom and the same dad, there is nobody in the world like you. And there's nobody that can do what you can do the way that you can do it. And there is much need of you in this world. The world needs you. And understanding everything from the way you look to the way you think to the shape of your body to the color of your skin to the way that you love to the abuse that you've experienced, to the person that's disappointed you, to the thing that's uplifted you, to whatever it is, all those things that are a part of you are what make you unique and are what make you enough and what make you something that nobody else can be, and therefore you're needed, you know? And so I think about it all the time, and I tell myself that, you know, I'm like, you're good, girl, you're enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may not be this and you may not be that. That's okay. That might not be your lane, but you know what your lane is? This. And nobody can do it the way that you can do it. And being all of who I am authentically, you know, it's, and again, that's a process too. It's like you grow up and you're like, well, I want to do this, or I want to be like this person, or I want to, you know, and learning that what you bring, that's your superpower, your authenticity, all of what you bring, that's how you win, by owning that. And yes, you can let other people encourage, influence, inspire, but owning all of who you are, that's the magic, you know?
Thank you. I love everything you said. Like, I understand. So, so to you, what does it mean to be strong, smart, and bold to you?
Strong, smart, and bold. I think that strong can be perceived a lot of different ways. Sometimes strong is acknowledging that you can't do something or you don't want to do something, or stepping out of other people's expectation for you. Or, you know, strong can mean other things that I feel like are a little more obvious. But strong to me is being even fearless, you know, and being courageous, or acknowledging, you know, that you're afraid, or whatever it may be. And you said strong, bold, and what was the last one?
Smart.
Smart. Smart. For me, it's like I had to learn, like my godfather. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jim Brown, but he, as a young person, you know, especially growing up where I grew up, I didn't have like a lot of friends like that. And I always felt out of place, and I always felt different. And, you know, he would always kind of talk to me about my mind and how it worked and what I brought to the table. And as it was to like being smart, it was like, okay, so I went to homeschool through high school. You know, I was on a Nickelodeon show. I was a working kid actor. And so I always felt insecure about being book smart, you know? And what I realized was book smart is something that I can obtain. All I have to do is apply myself. But having wisdom and being self-aware and all these things that are things you can't teach, you know, you've got to learn, or sometimes you just have them, you know, but you develop them as you get older. That's how I identify as smart. I may not be super book smart, but I feel that I have a lot of wisdom, and I feel that I'm in tune with people, and I feel self-aware and in touch. And that's how I view smart from the way that's valuable to me. And bold is just, I think there's so many different ways, but I think owning and loving you know, and being unapologetic about that, and allowing that to lead you in a lot of different ways in what you pursue and what you think you're capable of, and how you deal with what other people don't think you're capable of, and how you navigate life. And I think that being bold is a part of being courageous, and having courage it's never about not being afraid. It's about doing it anyways, and stepping into these things anyways. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
Megan, good. After every response, what I've noticed is that you live your life centering growth. Like whenever obstacles or anything negative comes, you know how to find that light against the shade. And I'm so grateful for you sharing your truth, your vulnerability, your time, your input. And we've all learned so much from this conversation today. So, do you have any final words to give us to the young people of Girls Inc. of New York City?
Oh my goodness.
Gave us
I would
gave us so much already. So thanks.
thank you. I would just say, don't let anybody else control how you see yourself. Focus your energy on seeing yourself as close to how God sees you as possible. And know that, like, anything that you dream of, that you aspire to, like, I'll just say this, like, a few years ago, I was like, I really want to be in like the DC comic book universe. I'm like a little Black kid from Santa Clarita who grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood who, I've been acting all my life, but I've also struggled with having opportunities and people seeing me a certain way and whatever it may be. And all I did was, ask God and pray about it. And then I went and like worked out for a year and a half and got really active about how I changed my body. And I just did everything I could do to meet God halfway. And then it happened, and to me, it didn't happen just so it could happen. It happened so that God could remind me, and hopefully remind someone else who knows of that experience, that we can do anything. There's absolutely nothing that we can't do. And also, we deserve it. It doesn't matter what mistakes we've made. It doesn't matter what's been done to us. It doesn't matter what we've done that we regret. We deserve it. And God says that we do. And we are worthy. And sky's not even the limit for what we can accomplish. All we have to do is believe and do our part to do our work and trust God to bring it full circle. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank y'all for talking with me.
I think that's the perfect place to close. There are no limitations. There are no
None.
limitations. Everything you want is already yours. You just have to go get it. You just have to like actually just go get it. And that's always the process. Thank you so much, Meagan Good, for joining us with Lifting Girls Up with Girls Inc. of New York City. We are so grateful for your time, and stay tuned, everyone, for more conversations with special guests.